No. No, I'm sorry, just no. Well, hello peoples of the internet, my name is Kevin and welcome back to another video. Okay guys, so for today's video I am doing the anti-TBR book tag, and I haven't done a book tag in such a long time, like literally cannot tell you the last time I did one. So there's that. But anyways, this is a book tag that I'm going to be doing because it lets you spill the tea and share your thoughts and opinions, and I'm just ready to do that. So this book tag was originally created by Nicole from Nicole and Her Books, so I will leave her channel linked down below as well as her original video linked down below in the description so you guys can go check it out. But essentially what this tag is, there is different prompts about books that you're just never going to read and like that you don't want to read, and you basically tell a book that suits the prompt or question for that part of the tag, if that makes sense. And then comes Mr. Disclaimer. So in this video, I'm probably going to talk about books that are very popular and books that you love, that you don't want to hear me say I'm never going to read them or just say anything negatively about the books. So if you don't want to hear anything like that, then I would just suggest that you don't watch this video. But yeah, these are just my opinions. If these books are books that you love and one of your favorite books of all time, great, that's amazing, I love that for you, but they're just books that I personally don't want to read. Also, before I continue, I actually did a video like this last year, I believe, called Books I Won't Read, and in that video, there is one book in particular that people were upset that I talked about, and that was Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. And in that video, I said, I'll never say never because who knows, I might actually end up wanting to read them at some point in the future. So the same thing goes for this video as well. Some of these books I could end up changing my mind. Like everyone is entitled to change their mind and stuff, so this could happen somewhere down the line. I could decide, oh, you know what, I actually do want to read that book. So just another disclaimer, because in particular with Six of Crows that I talked about in that video last year, I said I didn't want to read Six of Crows and it just wasn't something that I was interested in because I didn't like Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. So I was like, you know what, I don't want to read Six of Crows. But now with like the whole announcements of the TV show coming out, I'm slightly starting to get intrigued to read Six of Crows, so that's why we're bearing in mind that I could change my mind at some point in the future. Anyways, that's enough disclaimers, let's just get into the questions. Okay, so question number one, a popular book that everyone loves that you have no interest in reading. So for this one, I'm going to go with a book that I actually did talk about in the book I did last year, so I'm kind of repeating myself right now, but that book is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This book isn't as hugely popular now as it was, but it was definitely a few years ago. Everyone was talking about this book, everyone loved this book, but this book in particular I'm just not really interested in reading for some reason. Like every time I see it be talked about or mentioned, I just have no desire myself to go and read it. I don't really have anything else to say because I love the cover. That's one thing I will say. I love the color and cover of this book, but I just don't really have any desire or want to read it. Question number two, a classic book or author that you have no interest in reading. So for this one, I actually could have like a really long list because there's just so many classics I don't want to read. I am not into classic books. I don't really enjoy reading them, and yeah, that's just a preference. I just personally do not like classics. But there are some I have read and some that I do want to read at some point in my life. Maybe not anytime soon, but just some point in my life. One that I can think of straight off the bat that I don't want to read is The Picture of Dorian Gray, I think is the name of it. As I said, with this one I think I could just name any classics that I just don't want to read, and this is one I don't want to read. I have nothing against it, I'm sure it's probably a great book or anything, but this is not a book I want to read, so yeah. Then other ones that are like huge chunks of books, like such as Les Miserables, don't want to read that. No, that's a huge book. I have no desire to ever read that. So I'm just like trying to think of ones that I don't want to read, but I'm just gonna stick with those two because they're the only ones I can think of right now. But there's several classics out there that I just don't want to read because I'm just not a classic reader. Question number three is one that you're able to combine with, and it basically is an author that you have no interest in reading their books. So for this one, this is one that I know a lot of people aren't going to be happy about because a lot of people love these books, but the one that I'm going to go with is George R.R. Martin and the Game of Thrones series. I also talked about this in my video that I did last year. The only reason I don't want to read his books are just because of how humongous they are, because I did like Game of Thrones the TV show apart from the finale of season 8, but we're not going to talk about that. But like the books themselves just intimidate me so freaking much. They are beasts. The font is so small and I'm just like, no, I'm gonna pass. Sorry, George R. R. Martin. I'm sure you're a lovely guy, but I just don't want to read those gigantic books because they literally intimidate me so freaking much. And the thing is, I don't think that I would hate the books if I ever read them. It's just like the fact they're just such huge books and I'm just like, it's gonna take me forever to read, so I'm just not gonna do it. Question number 4 is an author whose books you've read a few of, but you've just established that they're not for you. And this one, I don't know who to go with either, because I don't think there's any author I've had like a real hit or miss. Actually, that is a lie. I just thought of someone. But the person I'm thinking of, the only books I've read by him are ones that he's co-written with someone else. So I don't know if I could use him. Anyways, I'm gonna go with him anyways. And that is David Levithan and his books. But like I said, I've only read books that he has co-written with someone. So I read Will Grayson, which he wrote with John Green. Loved that book when I read it years ago. And then he has wrote books with Rachel Kahn, which obviously you guys may know the most famous one, which is currently on Netflix at the minute, which is Dash and Lily's Book of Dares. I liked Dash and Lily as a book when I read it, but then there's other books that him and Rachel Kahn have written together that I don't like, such as Naomi and Eli's No Kiss List. Really don't like that book. And then like Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, I liked it, but like ever since I've read it, I've always just thought about it, I'm like, it wasn't really that spectacular, like nothing amazing about the book. The question said an author that you have no interest in reading anymore, but like I don't really feel that way about David Levithan, because I definitely would read some of his other books, especially books that he has wrote by himself as a solo author. So I don't know if I have no interest in him anymore, but it's an author I have like a hit or miss relationship with. Number 5 is a genre you have no interest in, or a genre that you've tried to get into but you just can't. And for this one again, I don't know if there's a genre that I've just never gotten into, but like a genre I don't read enough of are thrillers or murder, mystery, thriller, those kind of books. I just don't really read a lot of them. And like any of the ones that I have read is like The Girl on the Train or something, just because the movie was coming out and I wanted to watch the movie, but I wanted to read the book before I watched the movie. And so I'm like, does thrillers count for this? But like it's not a genre that I'm like, oh, hate it, can't get into it, will never read a book in that genre ever again, because I will. Like I would if someone recommended one and they were like, Kevin, really need to read this one. But yeah, it's just like a genre that I haven't gotten into. Like I haven't been obsessed with thrillers. I much prefer reading a contemporary or a fantasy or anything like that over a thriller. Question number 6 is a book that you have bought that you just know you will never read. And this could be a book that you've unhauled or just returned back to the library or something. And for this one, once again, I don't have any that I can think of. I'm just gonna go off any book that I know I've gotten rid of before and I never read it. So I'm gonna go with Half Bad by Sally Green. I know that I owned that for such a long time and I just never read it, and I don't really have any more of an interest in it to read it, so I guess that works for this question. Number 7 is a series that you just have no interest in reading. So for this one I actually have 2 answers, so just bear with me. The Nevernight series by Jay Kristoff. I simply have no interest whatsoever in reading this book, because even like when I've heard about it, I've heard that there's like footnotes in it, and when I heard that and like the fact you have to read footnotes as you're reading the story as well, no, I'm sorry, just no. So it kind of reminds me of the book Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. If you don't know, I was not a big fan of that book, and it's because in the book there is parts where it's scribbled out and there's like lines through what the character is saying, and it's like, oh, she erased that from her thought, but then you read it and then you read what she was actually thinking, and it just, yeah, that's just kind of what like the footnotes in Nevernight are reminding me of, like the fact that you would just be reading the story and then you have to go to the footnote to know what they were talking about or something like that. I'm just like, no. And also I've mentioned it to people saying, oh, do you think I would like this? And they've literally said, Kevin, no, I don't think you'll like this book. So I just have no intention to ever read it. And then the second one is basically the, I don't even remember what it's called. The Landon Series by Anna Todd, that little like spin-off series. This is just a spin-off series that I really just don't have any intention of reading. I'm not interested in Landon's character. I don't really have anything to say here. I just really don't have any interest in reading these books, and yeah. And then finally, number 8 is a new release that you have no intention of reading. For this one, this is such a popular book at the minute, and when I'm mentioning this one in particular, this is the one where my opinion could change and I could end up reading this at some point. So please know that I still could read it, but as of right now, I really don't have any desire to read it. And that is The Invisible Life of Addy LaRue by V.E. Schwab. From what I've seen of people who have read this and stuff, they talk about how it's such to do with character development and it's quite slow at parts. And I just don't think it's going to be a book I'll enjoy, especially because I also, when it was being marketed, I originally thought it was about something else, which I think a lot of people did, but I think it was just marketed wrong. And ever since I found out it wasn't about that, I've just kind of really lost all interest in it. I didn't really have much interest to begin with, so when that got took away, I was like, okay, I really don't have any interest in reading it. But once again, this could change. I could end up reading it at some point, but for right now, this is a new release that I just don't want to read. And yeah, that is it for all of the questions in the anti-TBR tag. So comment down below your answers to these questions. I would love to know. And also let me know down below in the comments if you agree with anything that I said. Is there any books that I talked about that you're like, yes, Kevin, I agree? Let me know down below in the comments so I know I'm not alone in these feelings. Other than that, that is going to be it for this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I shall see you all next time in my next video. So goodbye, guys.